Right. So what I want to do next is just talk about the primary methods of pricing your product. So primarily what I'm looking at here is what I call basic or simple pricing, tiered pricing, and then a little bit of an introduction to pricing scripts. So let's start off with basic pricing, and I've got some very simple example products yet again of these. And again, you can access all of these products if you wish to do so. So there we have an example of basic pricing. So it's the most straightforward method of applying prices to your products in Infigo. In this setup, you manually enter the product price within its product variant settings. So if I go to my product details, I'll go to my product variant, and these pricing bits of information, I'm just specifying on the info tab, and then in these options here. So we're looking at price, old price, which is just a bit of information if you want to include it, of what the price used to be, of course. And then if you want to do a temporary special price, you can do that as well, and where you can specify a start and an end date if you wish to do so. That will be displayed in that kind of format. Okay, and this is just a price per unit. So regardless of how many we choose, we're not going to be able to change that price using this method. All right, the next one we've got is tiered pricing. Now, tiered pricing enables price adjustments based on the quantity that you've ordered, allowing for volume-based discounts. So this structure encourages larger orders by reducing the price per unit as the quantities increase. So tiered price is again configured in the product variant settings of your product. And you start that process by adding tier pricing records. And these are what you can actually see displayed on the product landing page here. So if I go to the variant details of this product, let's take a look. Go to my tier prices tab, and you'll see at the bottom here, I've got my tier price records. And it is simply a case of saying add new record, specifying the quantity, and then specifying the price. Now you will note that the price here is initially as, well, I think it's a unit price it will show you by default, but you can show it as an order line total as well, just by clicking this checkbox. And it will try and make it clear if it is a total, whether it's price per order. So you can switch that up if you wish to do so. All right, so a few of the benefits and what you can do with tiered pricing, and there's a few different methods of tiered pricing, which I'll try and display in a moment. So quantity-based discounts, as I've mentioned, you can specify different prices based on the number of units that are purchased. Role-based pricing you can do as well. So you can see here, as I've been specifying my records, you can specify a customer role. So if you want to give different pricing structures to different sets of users, you can do that as well. As I've mentioned, you've got display options for showing price per unit and total order price. And you've also got some more advanced configuration as well. And this is actually how it utilizes the pricing tiers that you have specified. So let's start off with those. So what I've got here is my normal explanation at the moment. And I've got a little, hopefully quite useful little spreadsheet just to show us how this is actually utilized. So we've got a few different methods of utilizing the tier pricing that we've specified. We've got normal, and that basically means that whichever bracket of quantity we're sitting in, that dictates the price per unit of the entire order that we're putting through, the entire order line. So for the sake of this example here, we've got 3 tiers. We've got between 1 and 99 is £5 per unit, 100 to 999 is £4 per unit, and 1,000 plus is £3 per unit. So what it means is if we've got anything less than 100, the price is going to be £5 per unit. If we've got anything less than 1,000 and more than 100, it's going to be £4 per unit for the entire thing. We also have the ability to use that as quantity-based pricing. So what that means is that rather than giving people the ability to specify like 36 units, you can leave it to just the quantities that you've specified, and that will instead give people a drop-down list of available things they can choose at an available price. It's just how much flexibility you want to give people. We also have the ability to spread the price amongst all pricing tiers. Now, what that one does is basically means that using the same tiers, if we're looking from 1 to 99, it's going to be £5 per unit. But then any quantity of items above that fall into the next bracket, those items will be at the reduced price. So hopefully that little description there gives them a bit more detail. So it's going to be mixed. It's not just going to be every unit is the same price. And the last option we have there is interpolated price based on tiers. And just to be nice and quick about that, based on the time we've got, what that essentially is doing is we've got our data points, and then it's just putting a line between them. And that's just giving us an ability to sort of select a unit quantity that we want and then get a total order price back. So it's just interpolating it based on the data points that we've input. This is a very simple representation. There is an equation available in the help documentation, which actually shows you in more detail how this is calculated. Right. So the last major pricing method that we have available is pricing scripts. So they're one of the more powerful tools for customizing product pricing within Infigo. So these scripts allow you to define pricing rules based on things like attributes, which again we'll cover later, quantities that you've input, and a combination of other factors. They offer a flexible solution for more complex pricing models than can be handled with basic pricing or tiered pricing on their own. Infigo do provide something called the generic pricing script, which covers the vast majority of use cases, although custom scripts can be created for specific business needs if you have the knowledge, or our professional services team can write those scripts as well. So how the pricing script actually works, and I'm focusing here on the sort of generic pricing script, is it's drawing information from a CSV that you've provided. So just from a database of prices. So what we've got in my example here is the ability to select between a few different options. And you'll see that's updating the price. And then it's also, in my case, linked to the quantity as well. So again, based on the quantity I select, that will change the price as well. And this is the price per unit in this case. And this is just, as I say, it's dragging information from a CSV that we've previously provided to the product for it to reference. I've provided the CSV that's in the background here to be downloaded as a sample if you want to reference. And you can see there the simplicity of what we've provided. So I've got the attribute titles, so the options that we're allowing the users to have, and I've got various different quantities, and then all we've got is the associated price. And this is just one example of how we could tailor this pricing script. How those pricing scripts are uploaded, and again, this is a very brief overview. We do have much more detailed resources available. So if I go to the product variant settings of that product again, where we're looking at pricing, all we're making sure is that we have this attach a pricing script selected. And in most of your cases where you haven't got custom scripts, you will just have the ability to select the generic pricing script. And then that has some additional configuration available with it. And this additional configuration is pointing to things like which CSV you want to use, whether you want to include things like quantity or tiered pricing. And all the things you can include in it are in this little sample script configuration at the bottom. And we've got some documentation on it as well. So although it looks kind of confusing, especially if you're not used to scripting, it is quite a straightforward process of including this. And then the actual CSV files themselves, you're not uploading them here, you're just referencing them. Those are uploaded in an area called Global Additional Data. And again, if you've not got access to this area for whatever reason, support can give you a hand. And you're just uploading the CSV files there and then referencing them on the relevant product. Okay, and just for the sake of completeness, there are a few other pricing capabilities as well, which I'm not going to be covering in a huge amount of detail here. Let me just show you an example. So other pricing, so things like sliding cost adjustments. So allowing you to change the pricing based on various factors. So this might be, for example, if you do have attributes set up with different materials, weights, dimensions, whatever it might be, you can have it so that there's changes in the pricing as a result. So it's like a kind of uplift or downlift of pricing. You can have customer specific pricing, as we kind of touched on earlier on. So you can put in different pricing models for different customer roles, for example. You can disable the ability to purchase a product completely if you wish to do so. So it eliminates the pricing. And then you've got other things such as delivery price alterations as well. So if you want to add on a particular product to add a bit of an additional cost for delivery of that product, you can do so on a per product basis rather than having to specify it everywhere. And those are just a few examples of some additional pricing capabilities. Although the basic, tiered, and pricing script are probably the primary ways of doing so.